It is Thursday evening. That is right. You can call this pre-Friday if you want to. So this is a wonderful pre-Friday evening. Sorry, that just kind of makes Thursday sound bad. So we'll just say it is it's a thirsty Thursday. So I'm drinking water. Thirsty. All right. We have another great guest lined up for this evening, guys. It's been a great week. Let me reiterate that. It's been an awesome week. You guys have been incredible. I don't know what else to say except we're going to have another awesome conversation tonight. So our guest, we're going to be talking about the financial aspect of wealth building and kind of like his journey, how he got started doing this and why it's so important to him. So we're going to talk about this right now. So just hang on one more second. I'm going to make you wait. I'm going to make you wait. Okay, let's go. Come on. Just messing with you. All right, folks, what's going on? We are live. Wow, it is already Thursday. Jeez, this week has just been literally flying by. Some days I wake up and I'm just like flabbergasted that it's already here and tomorrow's Friday. That's why I call Thursday pre-Friday. Just makes it sound a little bit more, I don't know, fun. So, all right. Again, thank you so much for tuning in for the first time. We are live on our YouTube channel. So just like Miss Yolanda Chin over there, hit the notification bell, head over to the Gabriel Experience. Yes, like the bell she's got there. Take a cue. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. Like I said, it'll let you know whenever we are live like we are now. Whenever we schedule new live events, like we have one for tomorrow, and then whenever we have new video content on the channel, so like when our lives go there and they live on the channel, you can head over there and go check them out. So you can find past episodes of season not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. 4 seasons of awesome content that you can go check out on our YouTube channel. So if you're checking us out over there, thank you so very much. And of course, we are streaming on our favorite platform on LinkedIn, just like Jorge here. And Mr. Kunkel and Miss Yolanda, look at there. She's back over here. And same deal. If you're checking me out, head over to my profile page, hit the bell. It'll, again, let you know whenever I schedule new events, when I drop any kind of content, any posts that I put on there. Yeah, I think we're now at 8,114 followers. So quite a significant jump since I started the live show and started doing it again. I think I was at 7,000. I was stuck right at 7,000. So like over, 1,100 followers in that short amount of time. So that's not bad. I mean, it's not like I'm shooting for the stars, but hello, Robert. Me and Robert actually had a conversation today, and this is going to lead into a rant. So yes, I'm going to rant about something, but before I do, and it was because I had a conversation with Robert. Nothing he did. He didn't do anything, but something that just touched a nerve with me, and I'll share it with you in just a minute. But before I do, again, head over to our Impro Media Swag store. That is right. You can get swag. We're actually putting new show swag on our page. So if you head over to www.mavensofmerch.com/Gabriel, head over to the creators tab, you can find the MPro Media swag and soon to be released Unfiltered Live merch, hats, shirts. It's going to be the whole 9 yards. It's beautiful, beautiful stuff. So again, head over to the mavensofmerch.com/Gabe Deal. Get you some merch. All right. Also, let's give a little love to our Inky Black team. They are the ones that did a lot of our design work for the show, for my logo. I mean, learn more about what they do. Head over to www.inkyblack.design about the Inky Black method. So, all right, let's get into my rant. I do have a rant that I want to talk about here, but hello, Mr. Dunner. Mr. KDJ is in the house. All right, now I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to put this gentleman's name up here real quick because, oh, one more thing. Go follow me over on Twitter. I'm over on Twitter at the Stream Tornado and at Instagram and at TikTok, all those places. So, all right, now back to my rant. All right, we were talking today. I had a conversation with Mr. Robert Lee, and I was just kind of walking through like what I thought were a lot of the benefits of why people should come here to live stream on LinkedIn. Right? I mean, I've been doing this now for going on 4 years. And I do enjoy what I get to do. I'm not saying that I haven't. You might need to call a nerve doctor around here. We might have one in our back stage back. I'll share that. We'll share that in a little bit. But here's the rant. As I was going through and posting something a little while ago, I started scrolling through my feed, and trust me, my feed is curated with just about nothing but live streams, okay? Because I follow it, I live it, I breathe it, I walk the walk, I talk the talk. I've always been an advocate for it. But what pisses me off is that when I start seeing live streams, and some of these people I know they've been doing it for a while, and they get no kind of love. LinkedIn, the algorithm shows them no love at all. And I mean, this is really great content. I'm sitting here saying, we need more content creators like that to come to the platform, okay? And then I see great creators on this platform, and they're putting streams together, and it's a 50-minute stream, an hour-long stream, and there's like 2 comments. That pisses me off. Because that means that these people have spent time and effort, putting together their live streams, bringing guests on, scheduling everything, and it draws no attention. You say you want creators here. What you want the short form, you want the TikTok creators, you want the Instagram reels. Look, I'm going to tell you this. You had your version of reels here. It was called Stories, and you guys fucked it up. And you're fucking up again by ignoring what live stream creators are doing here. This is the most direct approach to get in contact with somebody, and you're stifling it. You're absolutely killing it on this platform. And I'm like, why? Like, why? I mean, I went through feeds. Jillian Whitney did her stream today with Michelle Raymond and Michelle B. Griffin, M1, M2, what I call them now, talking about her book, their launch of the book, talking about LinkedIn branding on this platform. 69 comments. 69 comments. To me, that is, and they promoted it. This is unsatisfactory as the way it sits in my book. Yeah, I get a lot of people coming here, but I've been doing this for a long time. Okay? And I do it every night. Apart from one other creator that I see that does this, and he's been doing this for a while, but when I see my buddy Travis go live, and that shows me like what the potential of what streaming on this platform can be. Like that to me is what things should be, but it's always something else. And it's because he's built a really great community. So that means that we have to build a community around this. And not to shoot shit at him, but like Luke Matthews might put a post up with a selfie and some copy, and he'll get fucking 300 something comments on there. Right? But even that, to me, even that is not reflective of like what the true reach and engagement should be behind it anyway. I mean, when you got like 25,000 followers and you're only getting like 300 comments, I mean, look at the percentage wise of what that is. The math ain't mathing, my friends. So this platform is sucking, right? And if I want more great creators to come here, if I want more people to invest in what we do here, we need more. I mean, fuck, we got a creator program here. What is the point of the creator program if it's not to help creators evolve and share? You know, I can make a TikTok video, and I've done it, a stupid TikTok video where I didn't even speak, and I got 14,000 followers, 14,000 views of it. Stupid. Algorithm works. Our algorithm here is not favorable to us here. And Richard Vanderbloom just did his like huge walkthrough of what the algorithm here, and it we talked about it the other night, and we talked about how we can go here and come here and brand and everything else. But damn, man, come on, like help a creator out. I mean, Carl, Sean, and Charlene did theirs, and there was 18 comments in the whole damn stream. They do this every week, man. Week, night. I mean, they put in the work. We tell people, be consistent, put in the work, promote, do the things that you need to do, and they do that, and that's what it gets. I'm sadly either disappointed in either. Well, I'm going to tell you what. This is what sucks. They don't help us like in how we invite people, how we bring in here. Like I would love to every night like store the individuals who I know will show up to my show, and even a few that come in and pop in and say hi, and I would love to add them and just send an invite to them, and it'll show up and they know that it's there, even if they show up or not. But I know that they're the ones that are going to be here to support. I would love to be able to send those invites out to them. It should be done with a click of a button. Can't do it that way. Can't do it that way. LinkedIn. I can go do that on Facebook. I can create a group over there. Do it so much easier. Groups here, they suck. Honestly. You create a group here on LinkedIn, you can have huge people in there. It's not going to get the reach like it should. It just sucks. Honestly, it just sucks. So I apologize for all my creators out there who are probably going through this and wondering what's going on. But yeah, that's what I had to rant about tonight. It was a little upsetting to see that and going through my stream. I mean, Alec Johnson and Stephanie Liu did one talking about NLP and live selling. We're talking about we're going into the creator economy and they're giving you blueprints and maps and everything else. One comment. Hour-long stream. One comment. Doesn't make sense to me. Does not make sense to me at all. Like what this platform wants, what we do. It's like we're the most fucking confused platform that there is. We don't know who we are. It's like we don't have our identity yet. It's like we don't have our identity. Like we're sitting here just trying to figure all this out. And here I am trying to advocate for people to come to this platform. And then I see shit like that and it drives me nuts. It absolutely drives me insane. So if anybody watches from LinkedIn, if this thing actually gets out to anybody, if you want to talk about it and you want to talk about it from the perspective of a real creator, not that some of these other people aren't, but somebody who's been here, tried in, tried out, and just pushing this every single night. Do I have to repeat that again? Every single night on your platform. Then yes, I have a problem with it. It sucks. Okay, enough of my rant now. Let's move on. Clear the mind. I'm going to clear a few seconds. Learn this technique by actually watching a National Geographic documentary by Chris Hemsworth called Limitless. They talk about how to breathe in. So I'm going to do this real quick with you guys. All right. Whew. Okay. Let's do this now. All right, guys. Now let's get going with the show. All right, tonight's guest, guys. I think you're gonna enjoy what he has to share. His journey is one that, again, is very. Again, it's not what you would call typical. I mean, people do struggles and everything else, but from what he had to do at a very early age, and yes, even at the tender age of 16, doing those things, that's a young age to do this. Um, Life interjected itself and kind of led him down a path of where he is now and what he loves to do with his own life now. So he helps people of all age groups, all incomes levels, and you know, all walks of life. Learn how to eliminate debt, and build generational wealth. So please, guys, help me welcome to the show my guest for the evening, and hopefully we can get past all the other stuff. Hello, Mr. Paul Deitch-Cummings. How are you, my friend? Welcome, welcome, welcome. But wait. You got to get your applause. Everybody comes here gets applause. So let's give him a round of applause. He's here. We're here to talk. How are you doing this evening, Paul?
I'm doing great, Gabe. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm so grateful to be here. And just thank you to everyone who's here. You know, your time is your most valuable asset, and I'll serve you well tonight. So thank you for being here and supporting Gabe.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do appreciate you stopping in. So, yes, kind of what we talked about a little bit as you know, was mentioning as I introduced you. I always love to hear about people's lives and their stories and the journeys that get people to where they're at this point in their lives. So it's never a direct line, and sometimes it's never what we wanted to do, but life leads us usually down where we're headed, where we're supposed to be heading in our journey. So why don't we talk a little bit about that and how you got started in helping people want to kind of guide them in understanding wealth and what that is, and why so many people have a bad relationship with it. It's crazy, but they do. Why don't we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my story is it's very long, but I would give you kind of like a short version of it. So how everything started for me was I was born and raised in Hawaii. I grew up with my grandparents since I was academically gifted. By the time I was in middle school, I was at college level for pretty much everything across the board: math, English, reading, writing, all that. And ever since I was 12, I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. When nobody in Hawaii knew what a neurosurgeon
Certainly.
was. And yeah. So I started going to college when I was 16 to pursue that. And then a year later, when I was 17, that's when my entire life changed. By the time I was 17, both my grandparents passed away who supported me. My dad passed away. He was a drug addict, so he wasn't really a part of my life much. And my mom was medically disabled. So, and she nearly passed away as well due to health issues. So I was basically in a position where all these things were happening consecutively, one after the other. And I I never had any work experience. So the way that I got to financial stability was I worked 20-hour days for 2 years straight. That was Hawaii's one of the most expensive places to live. And
Mm,
that was I did whatever I had to do. And what I realized toward the end was that a lot of the system's not made for people to be successful. It's not made for people to win. And I realized that a lot of the information that our parents and grandparents passed down, like a lot of it is just so outdated. I was told by my grandparents that if you'll be successful. And I remember the sleepless nights that I had where I was like, I don't know how I work harder than like 20-hour days. Like I didn't know anybody who was working that much. And it made me realize that that wasn't sustainable. And at the time, I was still driven to achieve my goal. I knew that this was a setback, but it wasn't the end of what I ultimately wanted to do, which was to be a neurosurgeon. So the way that I got into finance was I knew that a major pain point for a lot of doctors and surgeons was that they make a ton of money, but they didn't know how to manage it. So that was why I got into the banking world. And I knew that because of my family situation, that I was always going to have to work. So I figured, well, why not do something that not only pays me money and has benefits and all these good things, but actually helps me facilitate the ultimate goal that I wanted to achieve.
Right.
So I spent 4 years in the banking world, and I didn't know anything about finance. Before I started, I like to tell people that the only two things that I knew were I knew how to read prices at the grocery stores or anytime you were buying something. And then I knew how to spend less money than I had. Other than that, I didn't know anything about uh, paying bills, building credit, like all these type of things that are so crucial to life today. And for my first year in the banking world, I really taught myself a lot of things that were so important, like how to build credit, the difference between all the different types of accounts, and all these type of things. Because I've always been a person that it's hard for me to teach or basically tell somebody to do something if I haven't done it for myself. And
Mm.
what what ended up happening in my banking career was I spent the final three being known as a master debt eliminator, and I used to help people save thousands and thousands of dollars a month. And the way that I like to say it is, before they met me, they had money problems, and they would tell me about their goals and aspirations, and by the time we were done, they had a new set of problems. They were having to figure out, oh shoot, how am I going to get the time off to do this vacation with my family, actually do these things that people want to do. But the thing that I realized at that time was I was helping people save all this money, but the question then became, what do you do with it, right?
Right.
Because one of the biggest things that I learned, as much as I helped people with transform their financial life while I was in the banking world, at the same time, looking back, I robbed a lot of people of the opportunity to build wealth, because you don't do that in the financial institution. There's over like $27 trillion like that people have in the banks and CDs and like all these type of things, and they're not earning any money on that. And what's a huge interesting mindset that a lot of people have now is that due to the market volatility and all this type of stuff, people are so afraid. They don't care about earning money, they just don't want to lose any money. But yet
Mm.
when inflation's like 9% and you're earning, I don't know, two tenths
True.
of 1%
Yeah.
on your money, like
Right.
your money's burning regardless. So
Yes.
that that really caused me to make a massive shift. And I remember at the start of COVID in 2020, I remember seeing, because where I lived was an older demographic, but it was
Yeah.
a range, anywhere from people who were 50 to like 70 plus that were working.
Right.
And I remember so many people just being afraid. Like, we were all terrified, like what was going to happen with COVID, because states were shutting down. We didn't know what was happening, and a lot of people were losing their jobs. A lot of people were experiencing just health issues and like so many trauma.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that happened for me was I witnessed thousands of people literally lose their financial future overnight. And the I remember this image I'll never forget. It was because they consolidated branches in Hawaii. There was just a massive amount of people. I mean, the lines were so long that they had to get police to come to like make sure that nobody got hurt, because it was like going in the street. Like, that's how long it was. And I just remember seeing people come in, they were so happy, and just a line of people walking out crying after sitting with the financial advisor, because they were thinking that they were going to retire. They did everything that they were told to do. They did everything that was right. And this is why I talk about people are playing a system that's not built for you to win. And when I experienced that, that's when I realized that my job was to create strategies for people that do. And I think the most tragic thing is that the average person is going to earn anywhere from at least $2 to $2.5 million in their lifetime. But by the time they retire and they get to the end, you know, where it's like you work all these years and you're
Yep.
supposed to get to enjoy, the average person doesn't keep 5% of their money. And for people like math wise, that's $125,000. Like people have less than that to retire. And it's because people are, instead of
Mm.
passing on wealth and building it for themselves and their family, they end up giving it away to the government and financial institutions. And I'm so passionate about this because this was something that I personally had to experience. You know, a lot of the financial information that I was given by my grandparents was so outdated, just because, you know, in their time interest rates were better, we had a better economy. I mean, yeah, I would keep my money in the bank if I was earning 10% interest. You know, like it, things have changed. And this is what's so interesting about the financial world, is that it's taken a global pandemic for a lot of things to really happen all at the same time, for people to realize that, hey, maybe the information that you've been given isn't correct, right? You're seeing people experience like the double whammy effect of inflation, because not only do they have to pay it at, you know, when they go to the store or they go to the
Yep.
gas pump, but a
Yep.
lot of people don't actually have the money, so they're putting it on credit cards.
Yep.
And then with the government raising interest rates, right, it
Yep.
makes it harder for those people to pay off their debt. And you look at the people who are retired, right? They worked all these years, they built up their money in this big asset, yet you have the stock market crashing.
Yep.
So that asset is losing value. And then things are more expensive. So they have to pull out more money
More.
than they thought they did. So it's like people are playing a system that's not built for them to win. And
Yeah.
what one of the things that I remember being told when I was in the banking world is that it's a money problem, right? Everyone says that, oh, it's a money gap between the rich and,
Then the
I
poor.
guess, the
Yeah.
poor or whatever.
Yeah.
But the truth is there's a knowledge gap, because
Oh yeah.
if you're if the average person is earning $2 to $2.5 million in their lifetime,
Yep.
and I even think that that number is probably higher for most people, but it's just a, you know, a
Yeah.
ballpark
Average. Yeah.
number.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's no reason why people can't build wealth. And now that I'm an entrepreneur, it was so neat for me to actually be in the employee world. I got to see that a lot of these people who are in the corporate world, they have the correct concepts put in place to build generational wealth and pass it on to their family. But the problem is that they put their money in the wrong buckets, and that's where I
Mm.
come in. And yeah,
Help them out. Yeah.
yeah,
That's for those who. I mean, honestly, you know, there are usually five pillars that I talk about that people really need to work on when they, you know, when they want to learn how to not only change their lives, but then grow and develop. And it's usually, again, and I'm going to talk about them. It's your health, right? Without good health, you can't even earn. So that's what I tell people. Then it's understanding, you know, your finances. That's the next thing, and that's where I think there's a big gap in understanding the literacy behind it and what that is
mm,
for people. I mean, most people probably don't even know that they'll earn $2.5 million in their lifetime. They're just going, I'm going to work to go get a check. Okay. Um, so that's the next thing I talk about. And then it's for the other people. I usually say it's knowing yourself, mentally, emotionally, and then spiritually. So those five things are what I usually talk about, like pillars that I want people to understand what that is for them. And, you know, it's funny that some of these things go together. So that's why I say
yeah,
health, finance, and your mental state. All those things kind of go together, because if
yeah,
one of those things is out of alignment, everything else starts getting out of alignment, and it's tough.
yeah,
Like you said, people get in the rat race. Like they fall in that hole, and once they fall in that hole of what that is, it is so hard to pull themselves out. And even like you say,
yeah,
somebody can plan, like you say, they've done everything that they were told they were supposed to do. And even if they average it out and they say, well, I need to have this much, you know, that I can spend every month when I retire, and all of a sudden here you are again, inflation's up to 9.5%, and you're sitting down there like at 2, 3. I mean, it's erosion. It just goes so
yeah,
quickly that you all of a sudden those numbers are skewed, and everything that you thought was there ain't there anymore. And now you have to go back and reevaluate everything. And that's tough for a lot of people to understand it. That's why I guess for a lot of individuals, that's probably one things that hampers them from doing opportunity. That's probably
Yeah.
that's probably the scariest thing for anybody who wants to get in the world of entrepreneurship is what?
Mhm.
It's usually the finance part behind it because, they're like, it's the fear, it's the unknown. It's I don't know exactly what that's going to be,
Yeah.
and it is a scary proposition. Um, and even in the terms of what we're talking about here, Randy, even to budget. I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking about going beyond budgeting. We're talking about how to actually build generational wealth. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a reason that those people that are usually up there in the 1% usually stay there, you know, is because they understand what the system is a lot better than most of us do. And most of us, and myself included, I'm not there yet, but, you know, we fall prey. Like
Yeah.
we fall to it. And again, it's the same thing, like you said, people start living off their credit cards. People start doing all these other things. It's hard, again, to fight that fight whenever it's not, you don't have the right tools to fight with. I mean, it's like they're giving you a boat, but they don't give you the oars, and you're in the water, and you got to figure out where am I supposed to go now. It's like,
Yeah.
so understanding why, when I hear people talk about wealth, it goes just beyond but I think budget is important, yes, starting there. But then the other things, like you say, like getting people to that problem of the good problem. This is the good problem, folks. The good problem is saying, I don't know how I'm gonna get the time to spend this vacation now because I have the means to go do it.
Yeah.
That's the good problem to have. Those are nice worries to have to worry about. If someone came to say that to me, I would say, get away from me, man. You're pissing me off. Like, what that is. No, but it's absolutely truth. Of how people need to, well, not just need, but how to actually put into action like what that is for them.
Yeah.
So, you know, what are some of the things that when people like reach out and start talking with you
Mhm.
in the first place of, whenever this is my life right now. This is what I make financially. This is what I do. Like, what are some of the game plans or what are the things that you look at to kind of help give somebody a better game plan, a better blueprint of like what they can do to turn it all around, because that's the whole point of doing all of this, and
Yeah.
just getting started.
Well, I would say the biggest thing that happens is that I would say when I'm talking with people, a lot of people are hesitant because they think that they don't have money. But what usually happens is that after I sit down with people, they realize that they have not only more money, but they have more assets than they thought they did. It was just kind of what I was talking about earlier, though, where they're putting their money in the wrong bucket. And I think the biggest thing when it comes to finance is you need clarity, right? Because one of the most important things that I learned in life is that everything's relative. Like time's relative, money's relative. But a lot of people didn't understand my journey to entrepreneurship because by the time that I was 21, by most people's standards, I was living an ideal life, right? Like I lived in Hawaii, which is dream location for people to retire.
Yep.
I was able to support my mom. She was the only one left, which I think is a goal for every child, right? You want to be
Yep.
able to pay it back for everything that they did for you. And then I had this massive impact. Like I was helping hundreds, thousands of people a year completely transform their financial situation, do things that they thought were impossible, but I wanted more. And I think that clarity is honestly one of the most important things that you need to have in life, because what I learned through my experience is that if if you're not clear on what you want, the biggest reason why people have regrets is because you end up settling and doing what other people tell you that you should want. And I think that for a lot of people at the end of the day, when things are all said and done, this is why so many people have regrets. Kind of like how you were talking about, a lot of people are afraid of entrepreneurship. That's another thing that I work on people, right? Defining your fear. Because for me, the things that I'm afraid of are not achieving my full potential, not dying with dreams instead of memories, right? Like really changing your perspective on what fear means. And one of the unique things that I've had to overcome is it's hard for people to talk about money. You know, I grew up from my grandparents, like you didn't talk about money. A lot of people are ashamed because they're not where they currently want to be. But I want to tell you something. Every single day that you wake up, you have an opportunity to change your reality. If there's one thing that I learned this year, I had one conversation at a conference with one of my mentors and it changed my entire life. I've traveled the world. She inspired me to share my story. Like, and that was from one conversation. Imagine what could happen if you took the problem or concern, whatever you want to call it, that you were having, and you had the courage to sit down and talk to someone. And for me, I think where it's really interesting is that in my experience, a lot of people who are in the finance space, they haven't actually personally done a lot of things that they're teaching. You know, a lot of them will go to college because the truth is, like, in order to get in this industry, you only have to pass an exam and you're able to access financial services or there's people, if you want like the certification, you just have to get a degree. But I mean, look at the state of like layoffs right now. You have people with master's degrees who can't even get a job. Like
Right.
it's crazy that we've placed such a value on paper in this country, right? At the end of the day, like money's paper, but people look at it for what it does instead of what it is. And I think that the biggest thing when it comes to talking to people about these different financial strategies is focusing on what it does versus what it is. And that's like the biggest thing for me. There's a lot of education, there's a lot of not necessarily telling people, but using questions to help them understand that is this what you want to do? Like one of my favorite questions that I love asking people is who is that person that you love so much at the Internal Revenue Service? And
Right.
everybody would say, oh no one, like I don't love the Internal Revenue Service. And you look at their financial profile and you're like, well, what you're doing doesn't match that. And it's because people are financially programmed in this country. I stopped using the term financial literacy because with the access that we have today to technology, I mean, I remember I go out and when I was in Hawaii, like in very like poor neighborhoods, like people had nothing, but they had cell phones. And I see people every single day on social media talking about, oh, the newest Netflix show or all these type of things. And it's like, if imagine what type of world we would live in if people were that committed to their goals. One of the huge conversations that I love having with people is people would tell me, oh, you know, this they'll get me to watch a show. I was a big TV person before I became an entrepreneur. You know, my time's kind of
Yeah.
scarce now. And they would tell me, oh, you know, watch this show. And I would watch it. And they said, and I would say, well, you know, it's a little slow, but they're like, oh, you have to ease into it. And then I would ask them the question, well, if that's exactly how it is with your goals, why don't you approach that way? I mean, it's completely just paradigm shifts for people. And yeah, oh, that's awesome,
Yeah.
Enrique. Yeah, I grew up on Oahu. Yeah. And, you know, it's interesting when people talk about, I saw he said a comment about diversified. I want
Yeah.
to ask you a question, right? So, if you knew what you were doing and you knew that something like take for example, right, Gabe, like you've been doing the streaming thing for a
Hmm.
long time, right?
Yep.
You know that this works. How if you had like all the money in the world, how much money would you dump into yourself, your business, if you know that's successful?
Right. Oh, yeah. Where do I start? You know,
All of
no,
it, right? Like
I was gonna say, as much as I possibly
right.
can into doing this.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like when people talk about diversified, I personally think that diversified is a fancy word for I don't know because if you you knew that something was working, you would put all your money towards it. And when people are dabbling and putting their money here and there, to me, that tells me that you're not necessarily so sure that this is going to work. People are playing the financial yo-yo game in the stock market. This is what people have been doing for years with their retirement. Like, you're sold this idea of projection based off of the history context that people want to share with you, the good sides of the stock market. Nobody
Hmm.
tells you that the stock market's crashed multiple times and X and Y and all these type of things.
Right.
And this is why we're a very interesting time currently, because the projections that people were sold are being flipped. Like, the downside of what could have happened is now happening, and people have no idea to combat that. So that's my take on diversified. And I guess it could be because Grant Cardone is my mentor, and he's all in on the real estate thing. So it it's interesting, but it poses a good question, right? Like, if you know something's going to work, why would you put your money elsewhere? Why would you put your money in something that is like, you're not very sure?
Yeah. It's like saying I'm gonna, again, it's like saying I'm gonna buy real estate and then stock markets and lottery tickets.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
it's all you're pretty much spreading everything really thin.
Yeah,
And all it takes is just one of those to fail.
yeah,
One of them.
and that's what happens.
Yep.
People, one thing, and then the entire house falls. There's a term that one of my mentors, Tom Hegna, talks about, of like bubble wealth. There's been, like, I want to say 80%, it might be even higher now, but 80% of people who became millionaires through crypto lost everything. There was a massive article about a guy who was like a billionaire, and overnight he lost everything. Because what what I think is a huge misconception that people have is, I don't see how something's supposed to lead you to financial freedom and generational wealth when it can be lost overnight. The things that like I do for people aren't worried about the market. Like, people aren't worried about losing money. My clients have certainty during times of uncertainty, and I think that in when you're looking in times like this, nobody complains when, like, the market's like booming, right? Like, when stock market's up 30%, like, people are earning X and Y. Like, when things are good, nobody's complaining. But
Yes.
it's when things are down that people aren't prepared. And with everything that's going on for me, there's so many people in the finance world, and I think you're starting to see a lot of the professionals and the amateurs get weeded out, because it's easy to perform when everything's booming, right? It's easy to sell people. It's like, oh, the market's been earning like 20-30%, like, you should put your money here. Easy sell. But like, this year the S&P is down like almost like 30%, and it's like, how much time do you want to waste for that to go back? Like, it it's really just about talking to people, having those conversations and asking questions, because a lot of people don't realize, like, you're in the banking world, it's very much like, this person is the expert. You come in, people don't really know anything. So it's like they take everything that they say. And when you know nothing and somebody knows just a little more than you, they're always going to be an expert, because you don't know anything.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing a lot of people signing, and they didn't even understand that they were signing liability away. Like, if their
Right.
if their investment like went down, that it's part of the market. Like, people aren't doing that, and I think that it's so sad, because money isn't everything. Like, I've had experiences this year where I would have traded all the money that I had to, be able to do some things that I couldn't do for a while. And but I would tell you that money buys just about everything. Kind of like how we were talking about in the beginning.
Yep.
When you get your money right, you change the quality of your life. And I think that for me, one of the big things I learned this year is that it's all about problems. It doesn't matter whether you're all the way at the top or you're at the bottom. Like, you're always going to have problems,
Right.
but you want to change quality of your problems, and that will change the quality of your
In
life.
life, yeah, and that's a big one. So, all right, everybody. We are already, gosh, it goes so fast. But guys, if you want to reach out and have a a no obligation conversation here with Paul. Head over to his website, www.fcafinancial.com/, Paul Deitch-Cummings, and he can help you get you started if you want to just talk about it and lay out a few things that you might want to, even express. And, that's part of what he gets to do every day. And that's what he's finding his joy and his passion in doing, and helping individuals more and more and understand what that is for them, and helping them find their roadmap to finding that ability to make and create generational wealth. So, Paul, thank you again so much for coming on the show, man. I do appreciate you taking the time this evening. And is there any last words, or where people, any other places, say people might be able to reach out to you if they want to have a conversation with you?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Gabe. I'm definitely on Facebook, I think Instagram, TikTok, and then obviously LinkedIn. But I just wanted to leave everyone with this final message, because it's really what transformed my entire life. And I hope that you chase your potential instead of accepting your reality, because that was the huge game changer for me. Your potential is limitless. You can do anything that you set your mind to. And yeah, thank you so much for your time, everyone here. And Gabe, thank you for having me. I hope I served you well.
Absolutely. I think you do. And yes, like Yolanda says, thank you for the wealth of information, Paul. We really do appreciate you taking the time. So sit tight. And your Facebook. So, Randy, if you want the Facebook, it's pinned in the comments. But I will share it with you if you want to go to. It's www.facebook.com/ Paul.Deitch. Reach out to him. And you can follow him again on TikTok at PAULDC23. And it is on Instagram at Paul Deitch 23 as well. So if you want to go follow Paul, he is on social media and he is sharing everything. So everyone is on TikTok. I'm on Talk too. Okay. Thank you, Kenneth. All right. Thank you again, everybody. You guys have been again amazing. Before we get out of here, though, tomorrow night we're gonna wrap. Our guest for tomorrow evening, Mr. James Geiger, will be on the show. We're going to talk about his journey of what he's gone through as, we'll get into it tomorrow. But please tune in tomorrow evening. We're going to wrap up the week strong. Guys, come support. Mr. James Geiger will be our guest tomorrow evening. Okay, so woo, what a show. It goes by so fast. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself once I stop doing this for a while. But thank you again for tuning in, everybody. Again, thank you for letting me rant. Thank you guys for tuning in and following Paul. Please go head over and follow him if you're not connected with him on LinkedIn. And again, you can go to his website, www.fcafinancial.com/ Paul Deitch-Cummings. Reach out to him if you want to learn more about how to get your life financially and your financial house in order. So, all right, guys. I know you're late, Roy, but it's better late than never. And just like she was here in a flash, let me pull up her comment before we get out of here. I got to find it. We know the joke, but I think Randy had already said it. There she is, Miss Sia Yasatorat. That is right. And like I say, her tagline is hello, goodbye, and see ya. That's how fast she's in here. So, all right. There you go. If you want to go follow, and then head over and follow Mr. Roy Richardson as well. He is on Instagram. On Instagram, on YouTube at the Tech Troublemaker. Go check out his channel. Subscribe if you're not already there. All right, guys. Thank you again. Again, all the gratitude in the world. You guys know how much you mean to me, and supporting me and getting to be here every night. I get to bring on wonderful guests, have great conversations, and just share their experiences and the knowledge that they can pass along, and hopefully help provide a little value to all you guys. So, all right, last one. Please go head over and check out my buddy, Mr. Dan Roth. He's actually producing for a dear friend of mine. I'm fixing to head over there myself to go help produce or be a backup producer. But go check out Miss Future Kane. She is live right now. And not that I want to take people away from the eyes from here, but please head over there and go follow them. They're having a wonderful conversation going on. So I'm going to wrap this up. But okay, guys, until tomorrow evening, be well, stay well, live, love, and serve like no one else, and you will change the world around you. So until tomorrow, good night, everybody.